And we are live, man. What up, man? It's your friendly neighborhood man, Ep.8. I am live in the building. It's the Patio PolitiCz, man. We got a very, very special guest today. Man, the topic today is Scorpio Kings and Lavish Dreams, man. You heard me? Scorpio Kings and Lavish Dreams, man. It's going down in the patio right now, man. Shout out to LP, the host, DJ and J. I am your friendly neighborhood man, J5th. We're going to get into it right after this, man. Let's go.
We hope you stay a while, cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. Cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like, yeah. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. I said it's right for life. Come in with the shows that you like. We trying to be the best on the mic. DJ playing cuts that you like, yeah. It could be the start of your day, or maybe just the end of your night. But if you rock it with us, Patio PolitiCz is gonna do you right. Oh, cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life, yeah. We got whatever you like, whatever you like. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. Cause it's right for life. Oh, trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like. Ooh. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. We hope you stay a while.
Yes, we hope you stay a while. Shit, stay all night, stay all morning, whatever time of the day it is, man. But we back. Patio PolitiCz. Your friendly neighborhood man, J5TH. We live in the building, man. But right now, I like to bring on a very special guest, man. He's joining us live. This is my brother from another mother. I love him dearly. Super talented, extraordinary in a lot of ways. Y'all gonna hear. He's a philosopher in my eyes and very brilliant and intelligent. Let me stop ass kissing my brother, man, and let me bring him on. My man, Tyler Antoine Gordon. Man, don't be sounding like Barry White, man. What's happening with it, man?
Shit, man, you know, we present, brother. Present and powerful.
Man, so how you feeling, man?
Just like that, present and powerful. Undefeated. That's the word of the year, undefeated.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you here. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Shout out to LP, the host, and DJ and J. They're not present right now, but they here with us in a spiritual form. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to Cedric, who did that lovely intro, and Uncle Wiz, who produced the track, or whatever the case may be, man. But let's get right into it, man. What's your favorite Tom Hanks movie? Let's stop playing.
Forrest Gump, man.
Forrest Gump?
My grandmother used to watch us in the summer, and that was the one movie she put on every night when it was time to go to bed. Them summer times in Indiana get hot, bro. So that's what I remember. You throw the sheet on that couch, and Forrest Gump go on, and the lights go out. Grandma going to bed. Don't be too loud.
All right, man. So I seen Forrest Gump when I was little. I think it's one of his dopest movies. For sure, top three, actually.
What you going with, Castaway, Big?
There you go. See, Big is my number one.
I figured you. I figured.
I fuck with Big, man. Big, you know what, man?
You from the old school.
Man, I would have to go with Big and A League of Their Own.
Oh.
Yeah, I have to go with that.
Okay. See, I watched these movies when I was too young to appreciate a lot of things about them. So when I heard Tom Hanks talk about A League of Their Own when he got older, or when I got older, rather, it made a lot more sense to me because he was like, I'm sick of playing the guy who's got the thing, and then he goes to the girl, He was like, I want to play somebody who's older, bitter, had like life kind of fucked them over.
Yeah.
And that's definitely that guy. That's definitely that guy.
See, Forrest Gump, man, it fucked me up because I was looking at it like, you know, when you young, because I was young when I watched it too, when you seen the principal go visit moms, man. And I'm like, okay, they making noise in the room. Oh, yeah. I'm like, they humping and shit. Then the older I got, I'm like, damn, he was smashing moms, man. So he getting, I was like, damn.
I always knew that. I always just thought that the kid Forrest response was, you can't buy that kind of organic. The way that little boy just looked at it. Yeah. Like, bro, have you ever had a child make fun of you for having sex the way that you have sex?
Exactly.
What?
So who was your favorite character outside of
Lieutenant Dan? Lieutenant Dan?
Yeah, man.
Gary
Lieutenant Dan.
Sinise. Shout out to Gary Sinise, bro. That was the one person I don't get starstruck, but I appreciate artistry. So when I first moved here and I was getting on set and I was seeing people who I had seen in TV shows and movies coming up, that was the one person who I was like, Mr. Sinise. Because, bro, Of Mice and Men, let's go, George.
He's dope.
Like, come on.
Dope.
And then, like, he's got the Veteran Foundation that he started and everything. Like, shout out to Gary Sinise.
So you actually met him?
Yeah, I was on set with him. I could technically say I did some acting with him. I was doing background stuff, but like, it had to be interactive. You know what I mean?
So how was he? How was he?
He was really cool, man. He was the most down. I've been around people on set who, I don't want to say they're bigger names, but like it's like depends on what community you come from, right? So if you're in like the white community, Gary Sinise is probably bigger to you, and you probably don't know who Anthony Anderson is by name. But like if you're in the black community, you for sure know Anthony Anderson by name, and you may not know Gary Sinise, even though you know Lieutenant Dan.
You know Lieutenant Dan, yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like I've been on set, and there's no shots at nobody, but like, Anthony Anderson wasn't the nicest person on set when I met him. He had no reason to not, because there was nothing else going on. Tracy Ellis Ross had just won the Emmy for Best Actress in a comedy, and she was like the first black woman to win it. And this was like 3 days after that. She's super nice, excited to see. He was on, just kind of, what's up? And never look at a nigga, you know what I mean? But Gary was like, as soon as I complimented him on his work, just appreciating, you know what I mean? Like one artist to another. Then he starts talking to background extras. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like and it's like, bro, you're the legend.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you gotta respect, man. So shout out to him for that shit, man.
Absolutely.
Real talk. When it's, and that's the thing, I know you appreciated that, just being in the acting realm. You know how background can be, and they love so much when the leads interact with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what's your take on that?
So, all right. When I first moved here, I would get background gigs for featured stuff. Like for the Blackish thing, they called me and were like, hey, we want you to come play basically like DeBarge is what they called me. And like that was my family, was the DeBarges and shit. And it was real, like I would either get called in for featured stuff where I get some real camera time, or I wouldn't get put in at all, because it was like you're going to take camera time regardless of whether or not you're supposed to be. And that goes back to like college, when I, you know what I mean, racist ass theater professor said some shit like, "Oh, you would draw too much attention." All right. But
we're gonna go back to that. We're
gonna go all back to that.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say that the background, like I never saw myself as a background actor, right?
Yeah.
I always saw myself as like, this is just the part of the phases I have to go through, because I'm learning and I'm getting on set.
Exactly.
So like, and this isn't forever. So as you know, if you know that you're gonna go past some shit, then as you're going through it, you're not daunted by it. Like you can observe it from like a bird's eye standpoint.
Exactly.
And I saw how people, like I saw PAs would, because they're in high stress situations and they're on low on the totem pole, they would sometimes take shit out on background and not be so nice and shit like that. Some of these people are like retired cops who aren't looking to get famous or nothing. They just want to get out of the house. And it's like, bro, you can't just be talking disrespectfully to people because their background, like in this circumstance, their background and you're a PA, like everything is circumstantial. And so I just looked at like, the same way I looked at like Gary Sinise is just another human and another artist. I really tore down the walls between everybody, whether or not it's background or lead or production or whoever. How do you act as a human?
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you act as a human?
And I think that's the difficult thing with a lot of people, man. They let that title shit go to their head, where they think they could just talk to anybody any kind of way and do everything, or just because of
find out real quick that ain't the motherfucking case. You try that with the wrong one.
Exactly. And I know that's the case with you.
Scorpio King. King, brother, I know you.
So let's go back, because you said something, man, that I want to touch on about the racist professor from school.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick before we get into the origin of Tyler Antoine Gordon.
Murray McGibbon. I'm gonna say your motherfucking name because I don't care, bro.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Murray McGibbon. I don't know where you at right now, bro, but
Fuck you and fuck you.
that part right there, bro.
Real
because
shit.
he really had like some kind. So he's from South Africa. I took a directing class with him because you had to take a directing class as part of the theater program.
And this is in college?
This is at university, Indiana University, Bloomington.
Okay.
And Harold and the Boys. It's a play, for anybody who's unfamiliar with it, about a little boy who is basically raised by his two black servants. But to him, they're not servants, they're his friends, because they're the only people who he spends time with. His parents are off all the time at work, traveling, some shit like that, and he doesn't have a connection or a real relationship with his parents. And then at some point, like towards the end of the climax of the play is him spitting on one of his servants, one of his friends, you know what I mean? Because he's so hurt by his father at this point. And then he sees how his father treats these men that in his pain, he spits on his friend. And starts to he makes him call him Master Harold now. It's no longer like Harold, like we're friends. It's like now you're Master Harold.
Yeah.
And then the black man gets it, like, oh, now you're one of them. And I for the directing scene, we had to direct a scene from that play, right? From that particular play. I chose to do a scene other than the climax scene because I'm not finna ask my black actor to get spit on, and there's other scenes that are worthy of doing in the play.
Outside of that one.
So why is the first question that he asked me, why did you choose that scene? And I know what you're getting at when he asked me that, so I said back because the scene that you're asking me why I didn't do, by asking me why I did this scene, you're subtextually asking me why I didn't do the scene where the nigga gets spit on.
Where he gets spit on. Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm telling you because my black actor wasn't gonna have that happen, and I wasn't even gonna ask him or put him in that position because I'm not finna have all you white people. First of all, Indiana University, I don't know if it's up at all from the 4% that it was when I went there, but it had 4% black people.
Wow.
When I went there. So I was the only straight black man in the theater program, period. There was like one black girl who was in the BFA program, a gay black guy who was in the MFA program, and then me.
I'm not straight. I got you.
For real. So,
I believe.
So that type of shit was like, bruh, I'm not... You want me to have another black man stand up here in front of all you white people and watch another white man spit on him? What kind of artistic value are you getting out of that?
Exactly.
What? So,
and he was from South Africa.
He was from South Africa, apartheid South Africa.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Right, figure just.
There it is. So, did you end up like what was your grade in that class? Did you end up passing?
He passed me, and I think it was because he felt bad because honestly, I didn't have the strongest showing in the class. Like I had somebody from my second scene who ended up having a family passing, so she had to drop, and then the two people who ended up doing the scene they didn't learn the lines. Like basically he could have given me a non-pass, like a failing grade because of the product, you know what I mean, the second one. But he also directed The Three Musketeers that semester. And he it was ironic enough, so a buddy of mine, me and a buddy of mine, Macaulay, we worked out all summer together, and this kid we were both pretty inexperienced in the theater at this point. And this kid, we went in and he got the role. And I was very surprised because he was not impressive to me as an actor. Damn, I told you I'm really honest, bro.
Nah,
so
that's
you see this.
You're supposed to be.
But if you see this, Macaulay, I love you, bro. It just was like, you know what that was, bro. Everybody sort of looked at that performance and was like, what the fuck was he doing?
Yeah.
But like the feedback that I got from Murray was that I didn't have enough experience and that I would have drawn too much attention if he would have put me up there in the lead. So I said, so my friend, the white guy who has less experience than me or just as little, he doesn't have too little experience, and he's not going to draw too much attention because if you put a whole bunch of white people on stage, that's just another white guy, right? If you put my black ass on stage, like I told you, the only one, and I don't even look black, right? Like I'm mixed. I am some sort of like, oh, it's Three Musketeers. Is he a Spaniard? Like
you can be both.
I can be anything, right?
Exactly.
Depending on what you put me in, like the look and all the other type of shit. So I looked at my experience with him as a learning lesson. Like this is part of the game in some ways. Everybody has their own prerogative. You choose to interact with and respond to who you choose to interact with and how you respond.
Yeah, real talk.
So I let that be what it was, and I'm here doing bigger and better things now.
That part. And once we come back after this break, we'll be back in a tick. This is Patio PolitiCz. We're gonna talk more about that with my motherfucking brother, man. TG. Let's get it.
I've been having $1 million dreams. I've been having $1 million dreams, yeah. Right now life ain't easy as it seems. It's hard when you have no money in your jeans, yeah. But nobody gon' hold me back, no. Nobody gon' hold me. None of y'all can hold me back, no. None of y'all can hold me. Man, I'm on a mission like Michelin. I'm calibrating the distance between the wins and the losses. I jump from Hondas to Porsches. See, every step is a process. I'm a boss among bosses. I learn to ride my own wave. That's why
Where you from, blood? I said where the fuck you from, nigga? None of your fucking business, nigga. What's up, nigga? Bust your motherfucking ass. Hey, calm down, blood. Bus coming. Do something, nigga. Come on, move. I'm sad out. I'm gonna see you again. Cracker, nigga. Crab ass, nigga.
She brought out the F-R-E-A-A-A-K in me. Woo, damn, she right though. Body of a goddess, queen of the back.
Yes. Patio PolitiCz. Your man J5TH, Tyler Antoine Gordon. Man, we getting into some
Antoine.
Antoine. I'm sorry. TAG, my brother, man. My apologies, Salakia, brother. We back though. We back live, man. So let's get into the origin, man. Where you from? Cause let's talk about first. How long have you been in Los Angeles?
It'll be 6 years in June this year. 6
years. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to that shit right there, y'all. Shout out to that shit right there. That's what I'm talking about. Are you here to stay?
God got me, man.
What's so, man? Yes or no, man?
I say yes because it feels like home. So I mean, it's felt like home since I've been here, and it's only continued to feel more and more like home.
Come on now, man.
I think that the Most High is gonna have me traveling a lot and throughout my life. I think that this will always be the home base that I come back to, though.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
man. My brother, he eloped too, man. He eloped. He don't know it, Jay. He eloped though. Real talk. So let's talk about where you from, man. Where you from and what it was like growing up there.
I was born in North Carolina, raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. I guess to speak on what it's like growing up there. You know, when you're growing up in a place, especially if you don't move around a lot, you don't have any other reference point, right? So it's only regular to you until you get out of there. And then you see in comparison what it was like. So having been outside of there now, I say that Indiana is a real slow moving place.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot of industry that goes on there. Indianapolis itself, where I'm from, is a city, but it's surrounded by country. And because of that, people operate on a different code. In some ways, if you have backwards ass mentalities, you can find places there that will cater to you, like Martinsville or Atlanta, Indiana, where people still talk about nigger fry my chicken, shit like that.
The bullshit.
Because again, it's so slow moving that those places that fostered those types of mentalities since slave days, they never got pulled out of it. Nobody ever came into town and was like, hey bro, y'all gotta get with the times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't when I started to get exposed to other places, like in high school playing football, you go to combines and stuff like that, and like niggas from Chicago would be like, what do y'all even do in Indiana? You know what I mean? Like, ain't just like, clearly they got cornfields in Illinois too, but Chicago is a city. That's a real city. They got a nightlife. They got a beat. They got all sorts of shit that they can do. Us, you know, go to the mall, go to the movies. We don't have no beaches. We don't have no mountains. We don't have no where for you to really go sightsee. Our downtown wasn't really shit. Like, it's just kind of like you from the east side, you from the north side. The south side was cornfields, literally. Like, it's east side or west side. Like, the north side was like the rich white folks and shit like that. Like, if you go far enough north, that's like Carmel, Indiana. They don't even consider themselves a part of our city because they just got money and they're different. But
so I can't be seen going through that motherfucker.
You can. They are very. I ain't gonna lie. They don't do colorism up there because you will see black. Like you see black.
But it's about the money.
It's about the money. Don't bring that ghetto shit here. That's what you can't do.
So they have their own police and every.
It's like Burbank. It's like the Burbank of, you know what I mean? If you say if you're from Burbank, you're gonna say you're from Burbank. You're probably not gonna say you're from LA.
You're not.
You know, so that's how it is up there. But I mean, when my mom came here, she was like, "Oh, it's kind of like Indiana because we have our own." I was like, "Mama, it's just way bigger, and have way more nooks." But like, we got neighborhoods too. Like I said, it's west side and east side. So you might go to Broadway, but you might go to yada yada yada. But I think everybody, what you learn is that everywhere, because people have the same needs everywhere, right? Everybody has to have clothing, so you're gonna have laundromats everywhere. Everybody has to eat, so you're gonna have food places everywhere.
Exactly.
Like, and things just end up getting sectioned off, and I don't know, man. I always knew I had to get the fuck up out of there, though. I say that. My mama knew from a young age that I wasn't gonna stay. I always thought it was Miami because I loved the hurricanes coming up. The University of Miami Hurricanes. Shout out to the U. I didn't end up going there. I ain't never gave y'all a dollar, and y'all ain't never gave me nothing but inspiration. But I'll take it.
Well, I'm glad you're here, brother, because a lot of people near that way, they always pick the more East Coast, Southeast spots like Miami or Florida or something like that. So I'm like, man, I'm glad you're here, though. I'm glad you're here, man.
Business sense. I'm glad to be here, brother. But yeah, it was definitely like, if the way I say it, when people be like, oh, you're in the right city for acting or whatever. Like, if you were opening a surf shop, would you go to Kansas? Or would you go where they got water?
Where they go, yeah, exactly.
Like, where they go surfing, I'm going to go where they got water. So, Miami, they do some modeling and they do stuff. But if you're going to act, everybody knows you come to LA. It's bottom line. Like, if you're going to, and now that things are more remote, you can, and the social media has made people considered to be actors who don't pick up scripts or do anything like that, and it's like your social media personality, but you can do that from anywhere.
Social influencer, what they call it now.
Social influence.
Which it was a lot of when the YouTube era was first buzzing. Of course, it wasn't how it is now, but when it was, the same shit they was doing on IG, Twitch, TikTok, they was doing that on YouTube years ago when it first started coming up. Now, as an actor, what does that like do to you? Because you really dive into scripts and all that. When they you really take this shit for real, for real. What does that do to you when they look at social media presence and be like, we gonna cast them over this talented dude because they have 1.5 million followers?
I'm gonna be 1,000.
Please, man. Cause ain't no truth in politics. I mean, ain't no politics of truth, man.
At all. It doesn't bother me. Like, I feel like it's supposed to, the way like a lot of people respond, cause like, but again, you choose who you respond to and how you respond to
exactly.
stuff. So like, nobody stops me from picking up Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Nobody stops me from picking up any script that Like, acting is a form of therapy for me.
Real shit.
And I can, that's why when people be like, oh, you moved here to be an actor. My nigga, I was an actor doing Shakespeare in the Hood on box crates for free, telling crackheads they had to leave rehearsal back in Indiana. Like, I've been an actor since before I was getting paid for it. So I didn't move here to be something that I was already doing. I moved here to get paid for it in a way that I couldn't have done back in Indiana. So again, it's being objective and understanding like your circumstances, and if that's just a part of the world, are those people more authentic than me, or do I like feel a sense of envy for how real and raw they are? No. Like, do I feel a sense of envy for their financial success? No. Do I think they can do what I do? I know they can. So my homeboy got a saying from his grandma: what God has for you is for you.
Period.
And literally a period. Bottom line, point blank, period. That's it. No more questions. Like, no, my anxiety's creeping up. Like, I have such a discipline. I have such control, and I don't even like using that fucking word. I have such power over myself, such influence over my own thoughts and my own feelings, that anything that arises that I don't want to in myself, I can check that shit.
Exactly.
Like, with physical exercise, in a lot of ways, I'm mentally just powerful to like beat that shit up. Really, like, the shit doesn't come up. So when other people even complain about like, like, bruh, are you ready for your opportunity if it smacks you in the face right now?
Real talk.
If like in the midst of you complaining, somebody came up and were like, well, I got a script and $2 million for you. Ready for it right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you gonna like be able to get composed real quick? Like, bro, I just stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
Man,
if I'm constantly present.
Yep. That part.
Like I said, present and powerful. That's how I walked in here. That's how I'm gonna walk out, and that's how I'm gonna stay.
Now too, even with that, man, because it sounds like even you saying that, it's a lot of Robert Greene. And you know, we both like dig into him super. You get what I'm saying? It's that, and like you said, man, we control like the emotions we want to bring out. And I know even for a Scorpio, we get the stigmas of being jealous all the time. You get what I'm saying? But hearing you say that, it's like, what is your take on that? How people look at it, it's like, oh, y'all jealous, possessive, and all this other type of stuff.
16-year-old, 17-year-old me was.
That part right there.
But I grew up, and a lot of people don't. I say that as an individual, I've always been a passionate individual. However you feel about astrology, like I am a Scorpio. I feel like I relate to my sun sign in a lot of ways that I don't have to try to make the case. But being a passionate individual comes with all the extremes and intensities of that, like positive and negative, or dark or light, yin and yang. Exactly. The things that like I love hard. I've always been one of the most loyal people that I've known, and then that shows in my friends, because the people who I have in my life know me for me, and they stick with me because they fuck with who I am, and it's reciprocated. So a lot of people have relationships based on superficial shit, and they meander through life with that because it gets them by, and they don't. Going deeper is something they either don't know how to do, they're not interested in doing, whatever is the case. That's just never where I've lived from. So I know what it's like to, again, be possessive, but that's like I had a moment in college where somebody that I didn't want ended up being with somebody else for a moment, and I was like, I felt a sense of jealousy, but like I had been in meditation for long enough to have some distance to that, right? So again, we're like 3 layers as humans with a 4th layer of awareness. There's the physical, there's the mental, and there's the emotional. Message. There goes the physical as obviously what you can look at and see the experiences of having. When I say somebody that I didn't really want ended up with somebody else, like for a moment there, it's like, okay, physically, that's what you can see. Now, emotionally, I'm responding it into a way like a sense of jealousy. But mentally, again, the layer of awareness, I've got some detachment from all these like influences, these forms of information, because that's what they are. They're just forms of information. And in that detachment, I'm able to mentally break down, oh, I only feel this jealousy because somebody has something that I didn't want, but I felt a sense of possession over. Like a 3-year-old. You know what I mean?
Real talk.
Like a 3-year-old, like puts down the toy. They're not interested in it. They go play with something else. They turn around and see somebody else playing with their toy, and they want that toy back.
They want the toy back.
And even when they get the toy back, a lot of times they don't play with it.
They're
not. It's just about having some shit that somebody else has that you want.
Yeah, don't touch my toy.
Don't touch my toy.
Yeah.
But like if you grow up, then you learn to let go, and then you can truly develop real intimacy because you're not relating to people out of some unconscious sense of possession.
Yeah.
That possessive stuff goes out the window, and the true connection and intimacy can actually come into play because you created the space for that. So for anybody who thinks that Scorpios are just jealous and possessive, it's not the case for everybody, bro. Some people grow up. And check your motherfucking self, because all you other sun signs, y'all may not be as intense as us, but y'all got your own little faults and qualities and shit like that. We just bring them really to the forefront.
Come on, man.
Message.
Yeah, y'all heard it. I ain't even got to say nothing. Y'all know what it is, man. And they know who the realest sign is. We ain't even gonna get into that, man. They know it's the most dominant sign ever, the most powerfulest. And if y'all don't, man, as people say, just Google the shit and do your own research, man. Scorpios are the most powerful signs in the zodiac, man. Don't hate it. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at your parents.
Message.
So,
hey, bro. If you look back at it, bro, I'm a Valentine's Day baby. I wasn't playing.
Real talk.
Back about 9 months.
Yeah,
that's where that was going down. So that's a passion. That's where all that passion comes
and that
from.
love.
You're just a product of passion and love.
Exactly. So go on and hate. Like I said, get mad at your parents. They should have been screwing in February, late January. All right. So brother, let's you know what, man? We got more to talk about, but let's take a break real quick. Then we're going to get into some real shit because I want to talk about the creep LA. I want to talk about the being biracial, man. All that great shit, man. It's the Patio PolitiCz, J5TH, my man TG. We'll be right back.
We don't like Christians and what they stand for, so our purpose is simple. Go to every church and eliminate the real Christians. Or in other words, eliminate people that love the Lord. So we won't be long. Truly believe in God. Truly believe in Jesus Christ. Know that he's real and are willing to die for him as he did you. Stand to your feet right now.
So, Ejima, tell us about your experience.
My experience here is wonderful.
Cut.
You came right in and nailed it. You're amazing. They're amazing. Are those real?
No, I'm gonna give their ass a piece of my mind as soon as I go in there. Ashe, Queen, Ashe.
Hi, I'm Ejima. You must be Lil Dick, huh?
Remember Consuelo? Who? Foreign state student who stayed with me for like 4 years?
He asked me to dance. I said no. He said yes. I said no. He said yes.
I have an audition tomorrow and I was hoping you can possibly help me go over my lines.
Still smoking now?
No, this ain't for me. It's for my friend. You remember Courtney from school?
Everybody call me Mister, but you can call me Man.
Man?
Yeah, last name Bingo.
I don't know about y'all, but I love my city. I wouldn't leave it for nothing in the world. And I'm still the same old Ujima. I gotta get my shit together and together fast.
Patio PolitiCz, we back, we live, man. Your man J5TH. My brother Tyler, man. We here. What's good, baby?
What's happening with it, Tyler?
Man, just getting all this knowledge and wisdom from you, brother. Now, football, man. I'll do my very best to not talk long on this matter because, you know, we're both athletes. I'm not going to say ex-athletes because we still stay proactive in the things that we do. What is that transition like, man, going from football to... Matter of fact, what position you play? Let's go into that first, man.
Oh, shit. What position didn't I play? I played football since I was a little boy, so...
So what age you started? That you can remember.
I mean, in the neighborhood, since I've all shit. Since I could get anybody to play with me,
yeah,
you know, first grade or younger, like 7, 6, that type of shit. But I mean, and then Pops put, as soon as we could start hitting, he put us in the league. So that was back when, you know, small guys were playing defensive end. So I played everything: safety, defensive end, running back. In middle school, I was a running back and safety, and then when I got to high school, I was focused on safety. But then when we started doing DB drills, they saw I could catch. And they were like, you want to go play wide receiver? And we didn't, you know, middle school, you're not throwing the ball and no shit like that.
Yeah, you ain't throwing no 50, 60-yard passes.
Shit, we didn't even do that in high school. Like, I know y'all think that West Coast offense, but back in Indiana, that was ground and pound. It was some corner.
So straight running.
It's straight running.
So do you remember your first touchdown?
In Little League and Pop Warner?
Yeah.
Kinda, like... I don't remember much about it, but I just remember being in the end zone and like, it's a transcendental feeling. Now that I'm sitting here looking back as an adult, looking back at like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when he talks about self-actualization and he talks about somebody who talked about the freedom of running down a field. Yeah, when you step into the end zone, it's just like you in the sky. And
closest thing to heaven, man.
It is, bro. It really is. At that time, it was.
And see, I'm a defensive player, so, you know, I always dreamed of playing offense. But when you score a defensive touchdown, it's kind of the same feeling, man. It's like losing your virginity.
It's double time because you wasn't even supposed to be the nigga scoring.
Exactly.
You took the ball and then extra with it. Not only did I take the ball, and I scored with that motherfucker. Like, yeah.
So what's your favorite position overall?
I mean, I learned to love wide receiver because that's the one I ended up giving myself to so intensely. But I'm a wide receiver. That's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm a wide receiver. I always loved the running back. I loved hitting motherfuckers with my safety shit like that. But like, you crack block at wide receiver, like anything. Like I can run reverses, and once I get the ball, it's me and
now you're a running
field. I'm a running back. Like
exactly.
And then. Yeah, I just love it. Breaking people off with the routes and shit like that. You still can't guard me, bro. I don't care who you are. You still can't guard me.
So who you think is the greatest receiver of all time?
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
I mean, that's me being an old head. And
I agree with you. I agree with you. His father was a brick mason and had him catching bricks.
That's the part right
come on,
there,
man, when he was little.
And it was before. That was like an era before. Like, this is no shots at anybody who comes up in this era, but like the technology has advanced so much that like skill advances with the technology and the ability to train and understand things at a higher level. People are faster, they run higher, run faster, they jump higher, they lift heavier, all these things that like make the game what it is now. But back then they just didn't have, like you said, it was just you catching bricks and running.
Come on, man.
So that's for somebody like Jerry Rice to be a 4'7", 4'6", 40 type of guy. He ain't no crazy type of build, but you couldn't cover him.
He ain't the tallest. Yeah.
But the tallest wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, but you could not stop him. That
That's how I feel about Julian Edelman, man. Come on, man. He a hog.
Wes Welker Jr.?
Yeah, come on,
Wes Welker Jr.? Yeah.
Like, he a hog, man. And that's why I be telling people about Belichick. They can say what he want. Man, he know how to turn people into superstars, man. He's like, he's every athlete's coach. Like, he'll take you in the 6th round, man, and you the next Pro Bowl, whatever, slot, whatever, for the next 10 years.
So you know me being from Indianapolis, I'm gonna have to go with Tony Dungy.
I know.
It's Belichick. It's Belichick for sure. You got to give credit to the greatness because even if he's not my favorite or their hometown rival.
Nah, Tony Dungy is next level.
But
you got to put him up there.
But both of them speak to the same thing that you're talking about because it's the system.
It's the system.
It's not the person. We can put Austin Collie in here and have him running top-notch wide receiver sets for a year. You don't know who he is before or after this when he leaves, but while he's with us, we're going to make something out of what you can do.
Exactly. Now, do you take that same mentality with football into the acting realm?
Naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally. And I kind of know one of the things that we're going to talk about, so I'm going to just kind of segue into it because it's the perfect opportunity. Creep LA, my first year here. Shout out to JFI Productions. It wasn't even JFI Productions then yet. It was just Creep LA before we started expanding and doing all these activations and the Willows and all the other things that we produce over there at JFI.
So one second, when you came out here, was it just starting, or was
it was the second year? It was the second year. So Creep LA was the flagship show, and they did their first year in 2015, and I moved here in 2016.
Wow.
And it expanded from there into JFI Productions being the umbrella, Creep LA being one of the flagship show, but we do activations all the time for different, like Universal Studios or Amazon Prime or whoever decides to contract us. We appreciate all of y'all very much. And the 3 clubs who we signed a 2-year residency with, shout out to Mark, love you over there, man. But yeah, it was just starting up when I got here, and my very first year, like everything about what they were doing over there was like how we were over here with the R's, just very guerrilla. And how I've always gotten down, like I said, I Shakespeare in the Hood on box crates for free, telling crackheads they had to leave rehearsal back in Indiana. So I come from that world of like, and that's, again, it's part of me being grimy with football and shit like that. It's come from being born off of military, just gritty, not grimy, but gritty. I love real, like, I'm very in touch with my body. I'm a very physical person. That's why I think I have so much energy, is just because like I'm very in touch with my instrument and my being. And those like real blood, sweat, tears, like this thing that you use.
Everything is real.
Everything is real. It's not digital. Like if this gets hit, it really hurts. You really break bones and you really bleed and you really sweat. And you really pump endorphins in this shit. So I get excited about this.
As you should.
But that's where I end up putting all of those things. Like that's why I ended up getting into acting, because as I was in college and I was looking for, I had this moment of enlightenment that I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. Now I've come to see enlightenment as like a continually unfolding experience, but I recognize that moment as like the anchor dropping moment. And then it just kept getting deeper and deeper because I cultivated it. The anchor only dropped because I did the soul searching and the work to make it. And then once I got it, I didn't stop. And in that process of not stopping, like I said, in that enlightenment moment, I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. So since I didn't die, then it was about figuring out how to maneuver through this human experience. And I had been introduced to a concept called Dharma by Deepak Chopra in the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And
yes, I read that book.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So you're familiar with it, obviously.
Yes, I am. I am.
Particularly the law of Dharma. And for anybody who's not, the way that Deepak broke it down that made sense to me was basically like, it's like your destiny. Like, and to not use that word, you have something that you're good at that you like doing. And it could be multiple things, but those 2 qualifying things, you're good at it naturally and you like doing it. Those are like the 2 critical criteria, because if you're naturally good at it, you're capable of being great at it.
Exactly.
If you just aren't naturally good at it, the best you might get is mediocre, but and it might be a hobby, but like something that you're naturally good at, you can become great at. And then if you enjoy it, then you're even more apt to become great at it, because the things that are challenges are enjoyable to you. You know what I mean? If you don't like math and somebody gives you a hard math problem, it doesn't turn you on. Like it turns you off. It does the exact opposite, because that's not my thing anyway. It's
not my thing,
But if somebody gives you something like, oh, I'm playing basketball and all I got is my little brother to beat up on, oh, now I gotta challenge somebody who came around the way. Now it's exciting. And so I looked at the things that I was good at, that I liked doing, and in a way that wasn't about money. Because at the time, like you brought up Robert Greene, I love Robert Greene. I can honestly say that my journey in a lot of ways parallels his without me having had tried to copy him.
Nah, real talk, I agree.
Because
I agree with those.
The thing that, like, Mastery came out in 2012, fall of 2012. And that was one of my favorite books by him. And he was talking about your primal inclinations. He was talking about doing all the things that, like, tapping into all the things that I'm talking about that Deepak calls your dharma. He called your life's task. And regardless of what you call it, it's all like the same thing. What's driving you? What are you here for? And so that's what I tapped in for. Again, I'm still alive. I felt like I died and gone to heaven, but I'm still here. So what am I here for? And what was I good at? And I started looking at all those things and exploring. And I was at the perfect place to do it because I was in college. So I went from philosophy and religious studies because I had those types of questions. I got answers for them. And then I kept building on the answers. Okay, so now, again, what was I good at? People would always, I've realized, like, opened up to me when I didn't really ask them to. You know what I mean? They would tell me their secrets. They say women mature faster than men, but I would always talk to older women, and they thought that I was mature, so it was like, and they would open up and things like that. So I was like, maybe psychology is something up my alley. So I went and tried that. And I just, again, too energetic. I was understanding things, but it was moving too slowly for me. And then I thought back to when I did A Midsummer Night's Dream, the abridged version for middle schoolers. And I fell in love with it. I realized that I had always loved language, that words had always been, I had won writing awards for things that I hadn't tried on. At a certain point, like I started writing papers for money in college. I had always, like, words, people had always talked about me being articulate or eloquent or having a way with words. And so I was like, okay, words are my thing. I can do this. And I'm a physical person. I can take all that football energy and actually bring it to a role. And like, and it works with my imagination because I was like, I'm the oldest. It's just me and my little brother. And so for like 3.5 years, it was just me. And, you know, and I remember him being born, so I remember the time alone when he was coming up, and I remember being like, at a certain point, he wanted to involve himself in playing with me, and it was like, now I got to share my imaginary world with somebody else. I don't really want to do that, but my mom's making me, and like, and
shout out to all the older brothers out there, man.
Boy, you know what it's like.
God damn,
they have a moment to yourself, but it was all good. I love you, baby, bro. And it helped me just to recognize, like, okay, you've always had a powerful imagination and been connected to it. You've always had a way with words and liked language. You always had a lot of energy. That's a perfect outlet. So again, fast forward to Creep LA, I brought all that. I brought all that football tenacity straight to this guerrilla environment where Justin Fix from Just Fix It Productions was up there building the set himself. Like I remember one night we back when I still drank, we just got too drunk and didn't end up leaving the set, and he was telling me one night, he was like, Tyler, like, this is my grandmother's quill. And it was just a part of the set. And I was like, bro, you know, this get torn, anything could happen, but it's like you really put your heart and your soul into this. And there was a night, it's funny because that's actually where in my mind Just Fix It came from, because Justin Fix is his name. But we had a night where there was a young lady who, like, my particular scene, one of the scenes that I did the very first year was like a duet kind of dance. I was in a cage under some sheet, and then there was a young lady outside the cage, and she was back doing the things, and she would bring the audience to the cage, and then we would, like, meet at the cage, and she would climb up it, and somebody said something while she had climbed up it, and I'm standing in front of it that was like, it was a sexually charged environment. She said something just kind of like that could be seen as disrespectful, but it was just part of the environment. It was just part of the world. And the young lady, though, who I was doing the scene with, she got all distraught about it and emotional and dropped for that, not for the entire production, but like we had 4 or 5 more shows to do that night. And she was like, I can't do it.
Because
and
of that,
because of what that young lady said. And so I'm like, this isn't a one-person show. Like, but we can't just we can't just skip. I'm not gonna drop out now, you know what I mean? Because you dropped out. Now we don't just skip this whole section of the play, because like every piece fit together, so you needed every single link. We can't just skip this link because you are distraught about what some girl said. So I did the shit by myself.
How did it go?
I made it work. I just fixed it.
Exactly.
And that was where the whole thing came from, because we had a conversation afterwards, and I was like, bruh, some of these like theater people with their, I know we all have emotions, and in theater and acting, like I said, acting is therapy in all ways, because you're connecting with your emotions, you're transmuting them, you're really dealing with things. But a lot of times, people who are in this craft lose the sense of objective in it.
Yeah.
You're not just emoting.
Yeah.
Or just dealing with your emotions for the sake of dealing with your emotions. You want something.
Exactly.
And that's the case in life all the time. Like, at that particular moment, your character wants something, but outside of that, we have a show to do. Like, your job that you're getting paid for right now is to finish this show. So this show must go on, right? Like, that's the way the saying goes. And so, like, that football mentality of, like, yeah, we might be doing 20, 25 shows a night. Yeah, this might get draining. Yeah, it might get repetitive. Suck it the fuck up. It's what you signed up for.
Yeah, that's football.
Yeah, that's football.
That's football.
It's not, you're not outside in 110 degree heat. Like back in India, like y'all got mild weather out here, bro. Like it gets intense back there. Them August two-a-days where you're out 2.5 hours a day, two times a day. The second time the day you're putting on soaked ass girdles and shit like that. And
it's crazy.
Bro, like humid ass 110 degree heat. Like, I asked my coach my senior year, why do we do two-a-days? Like, I'm not a bitch. I'm a captain of the team. Like, I've done it. I've done the process, but I just want to know, why do we do this shit? And he's like, it's the quickest way to shock your system. If I damn near kill you for 2 weeks, what's the rest of the season?
What's 4 quarters?
What's 4 quarters? What's a 2-hour practice? You've been practicing for 5 hours a day. It only gets cooler. The practice only gets shorter.
Exactly.
Like, so if I damn near kill you, then everything else is easy. And most people haven't damn near gotten killed.
Exactly.
They haven't damn near died. And then when you push yourself to that level, then everything is just heightened. It's, oh shit, I got to push the envelope. I got to push the envelope. If I'm not pushing the envelope, then that feels like death.
Ah, man.
Damn, I'm dropping game on y'all. Niggas need to pay me for this right here. Boy.
Hey, but that's the thing, and that's why I love a lot of times when athletes, man, convert over to the acting, because they get it. That's how my intensity is with the acting. So you already know. It gets intense. And when it gets intense, it's like, let's go. Let's get it. We athletes. That whole mentality is crazy. And then you blend that in with the Robert Greene shit. What's your favorite Robert Greene book? I know you said it. Say it again, though.
Mastery.
Have you read Art of Seduction?
Every single book. I'm reading The Daily Laws right now, his latest book, and it's a book that you're supposed to read one day at a time because he's got a page for every day.
Wow.
Like a chapter for every day. But
see, I gotta get that. Art of Seduction, I fuck with that.
Gotta love the Art of Seduction. What is your favorite nugget out of the Art of Seduction? Because there's a lot, but like your favorite nuggets.
Oh man, my favorite nugget. I would have to say the chapter. I don't think it's the charmer chapter, but it was the whole thing about Cleopatra.
Oh, Siren.
Yes, that. Just the whole. She was something else, man. She
spoke multiple languages, got her family back in power. Like,
and how she was using the Art of Seduction before it was even a concept or an idea. You get what I'm saying?
Bro, how smart do you have to be?
To be
wily. They use that word like women's wily ways. Like, that is wily as it gets. I mean, you have to be power hungry for sure. Like, because other people didn't speak. She was one of the few Egyptians who spoke. I don't want to get this wrong, but she was one of the few Egyptians who spoke Latin, I think.
Yeah.
And just her ability to keep coming back for what she wanted. And
and snatching kingdoms. Like
master strategist. Like, it makes sense that Robert Greene looked at her as who he is because he's such a tactician, for him to be able to see. So my favorite thing about the Art of Seduction is him talking about people getting outside themselves. Yes, he mentions that at the very beginning, is that most people are locked into their own worlds with their own concerns, and it makes you less attractive.
It does,
because you can't really give full attention to people. But when you get outside of yourself and you are immersed in your environment, that connection with reality. So Robert Greene just builds on everything he did, and he built on that conversation about a connection with reality, and that's what ended up becoming Mastery. Yeah. Because Mastery is about a continual relationship with
marathon
reality. Yeah. That, like, feedback loops are never ending. And so as you go through life, like, you started getting feedback loops the first time you touched the fucking stove and it was hot and you stopped doing that. If you stopped experimenting with the world and you stop getting feedback loops and you stop growing.
Yeah.
But mastery and the art of seduction and all these other things, in essence, encourage you to just keep a connection with reality.
Yeah.
You're constantly engaged in it.
And keep a connection with self, too. Keep a connection with self. Now, I wanted to ask you, too, in dealing with the Creep LA, did you use any strategies from the art of seduction?
He asking for game on this one now. I wouldn't say specifically with Creep LA, but like in life life in general. I mean, like, and it definitely plays into Creep LA because everything that you do, like, you start to see as one big seduction.
Exactly.
And yeah, it definitely comes into play because it comes back to that knowledge, like that nugget of knowledge about getting outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you constantly engage, I'm someone who, like I said, I'm a natural introvert. I've got a strong imagination. I very much live in my own internal world.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did engage with the outside world, I had everybody has some harshness to their experience, but like a lot of the things that people experience as harsh, I was able to not.
Yeah.
Like, I got girls. I got good grades pretty easily. Like, people kind of liked me. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like a super socialite because, again, I was a natural introvert, but like I was decently popular because of the fact that, like, the way that I looked and because I played sports and all these other things. So I say all that to say, engaging in reality in a way that required me to face difficulties or challenges, that's where sports come in. That's where things like that, like, you know, you have to overcome hardships. And getting outside of yourself, for me, was like the introvert tendencies.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that I didn't care about other people. Like I said, I could give such full attention because I really did shut the fuck up when people gave me
insight or whatever.
Yeah, when they wanted to communicate with me. And that's why people end up opening up in ways that I'd be like, why are you telling me so much? Because I'm not asking you. But I guess I am asking you by me giving you attention. And I'm not you know, you feel the attention. And I think that it just made me, like, working in hospitality and taking that nugget and being like, okay, it could help me get girls, but it could also help me just be a more attractive person in life. To get outside of myself and be a better observer of human behavior and connect with the things outside of myself. And then in acting, like, they call, like, in acting, you call them forehead lookers when motherfuckers don't look you in your eyes and they're not connected to, because not every time am I gonna be staring in the person's eyes when I'm talking to them. But if I'm delivering lines and I'm looking at your forehead because I'm rattling it off, I'm not truly present, am I? I'm not really connected. That's not good acting. Like, nobody feels that. I don't feel that. So it just helped me. I look at, there's a quote, growth as a human being and growth as an actor are synonymous.
Message.
And I can't remember who, I'm not gonna misquote it, but or misassign the quote, but I just looked at that as a constant thing. Like, as I get, acting is, like I said, it's a form of therapy.
Yes, it is.
It's a possible, like, not a possible, it's a part of my career, but it's not the only thing that I do.
Yeah.
And so I look at it in relationship to my life, not my life in relationship to it.
Yes, sir.
And so as I get better as a, like, I'm a super healthy person, right? Like, super healthy, but I don't drink. I haven't drank for over a year. Like, the only thing I do is smoke weed, but I'm a constantly active person, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that means I look a certain way. Regularly, that's just how my physique looks. If I want to change roles and then look like somebody who's out of shape or do something like that, then my life gets reoriented for the acting and stuff like that. And that's where I think some people who don't have a healthy relationship with it, I'm not finna, like, put so much in acting that, like, I just become unhealthy in my personal life, because to me it's not that deep. Like, I love it and I'm here, but I'm here to just, I've been in constant communication with God, and since I became aware on some, like, experiential relationship since that enlightenment moment, that's all I'm here to do is serve. And it's in a very, what did Jesus say? My yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Come on, man.
Message.
Come on, man.
I'm just here serving, play whatever God got to send through me. I'm just here. And if I had this idea for a play, called Shut the Fuck Up. And a person just come out, one man show, sit in front of the crowd and don't say nothing. See how long it takes for motherfuckers to leave.
Yeah.
Or can you be just meditative there?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that space and that silence is the groundwork for everything else.
Yes, it is.
Like if
man.
you start to frame every human drama or comedy or situation from what? From stillness and silence.
Yes, sir.
And from nothingness. And then we start giving it given circumstances. And then the objectives start guiding it. Start giving some people some direction for their what? Their action. The internal and their external action. And then things start coming in the way. And now we might have some drama, some juice because we got obstacles.
Yeah.
And that's just life. But as a graduate of drama, I've taken those situations that I've learned. Like I said, acting is therapy, but it's lessons.
Yeah, real talk.
I played Othello for 5-6 months. I know what it's like to feel jealous.
Yeah.
I'm okay off of that. You know what I mean? Like, and
Othello was deep, man.
Very deep.
Yeah.
And there's such a lesson behind that because in every way she looked like she was cheating.
Yeah.
But she wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was all because you let some other man get into your ear about your woman and about your kingdom.
Yeah.
And you let something infest it. So I'm okay. Like, again, I trust my instincts. I don't have to hold on to anything. The less I carry, again, that's how my yoke stays easy and my burden stays light. You can accumulate wealth and experience and build character without having to hold on to things. That wisdom's not going to leave you. Your soul's not going to forget. So as you continue to grow and flow, I don't know, man. You just let go.
Man.
As you continue to grow and flow, you just let go.
Hey, man.
I'm free falling, baby.
Hey, nah, as you should. As you should, man. This is Real Talk, man, with my brother. And he got his deep talks, too. We're going to get into that after we take a quick break. Real quick. We'll be back on the Patio PolitiCz, man.
My mom passed away when I was 14, so I ended up getting like 4 other moms, and you know, I took from each one, and as I saw their characters, it taught me how to grow into a woman.
The biggest obstacle and challenge that I faced along the way is self-sabotage.
I'm constantly growing. I've made mistakes. I've made things that I've had to go back and correct. That's all part of the process.
Because of my dark skin and my thick thighs and my big booty. For a long time, I fed into what Hollywood or America said that I wasn't.
I hate people say that you're not gonna do that, you're not gonna be able to make it, you're not good enough. That inspires me.
I really follow the cats in the game that stick to code, ethic, you know, just morals.
I like to humble myself in front of people to show them that it can be done.
What I feel that sets me aside is having God by my side, because He is the one that makes me unique, and He is the one that gives me the strength in order to make myself seem unique.
My name is Thomas Sheldon. I'm a local reporter and ex-private investigator. I've covered many stories, but nothing as intriguing as this. Where there's more law, there's less justice. If we have never known justice, how can we ever relish in peace? If the lawmakers in the streets cease to be just, who will be the judge and jurors of them? I've wondered. And then there was the council.
Just for the world to see, yeah. Baby, you got the crown, you hold it down. You love it when I pound, hashtag pound, you're my hashtag pound, yeah.
loving you to perfection. Damn, you right, you perfected. Silly of me to neglect it. That will make life so hectic. Who am I to question? His work of art they abandoned. He GPS'd you right here, you in the right direction. I'm in your midsection. Look deep within my
Yes. Patio PolitiCz, your man J5TH. In the building with my brother from another, man, who I love so dearly, man. My brother. We ended the last segment with talking about letting go, man. And this is a very serious topic and issue that I'm going to talk about, because we briefly talked about this last time in just conversation. But I know with a lot of our guests that we have, since I'm a suicide survivor myself, I love talking to other guests who've either been in that situation or is a suicide survivor themselves. So let's talk about that whole experience with you. How did it happen? You talk about the story and then go into what led to that.
Well, like I said earlier, 16, 17-year-old me was very possessive. And when I had my, like your first love, right?
Yeah.
And before her, the longest relationship I had been in was like 2 weeks. I just jump around, short attention span, you know how kids are. And then all of a sudden I went from being like that to being with this girl for a year and some months. Lost my virginity to her. And again, all that intense, passionate emotion with an underdeveloped mind and an underdeveloped sense of self left me distraught when we broke up. I just had no sense of how to manage all the things that I was feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
And it turned into like physical sickness, and it turned into me acting out in ways that I never had, lying to my parents, sneaking out, smoked for the first time, drank for the first time. Like, I was just, and I didn't get hooked or no shit like that. I just was on some rebellious shit.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like the darkest period of my life.
Wow.
And it was from January, like I remember specifically, it was like January 26, 2006. It's damn near 15 years ago now. Till like the end of the year. Literally, it was like from that top of the top of the year 2006 till November. And
so even throughout your birthday.
So that story, the way it came in, I don't think my birthday hit. I want to say it was like October. No, it wasn't my birthday yet because we were still in football season.
Got you.
And
I know around our birthday times, that's when season is like coming to an end. Yeah.
Right around that time.
Yeah, got you.
And I had broken my leg my senior year. So I wasn't even like, I came back like the last 2 games, but I wasn't even playing yet.
So going through all that shit, you couldn't even be mobile like you wanted to.
At a certain point. So like January was when we broke up. And then we didn't like completely like separate. It was like pregnancy.
Fucking around.
Yeah, still pregnancy. Like pregnancy scare type shit. And then like that's when we had the pregnancy scare. That's when we kind of like for real separated.
Got you.
And I still didn't I couldn't get over her until, so first time I smoked was just me on the reckless shit, was like lying to my parents spring break my junior year and sneaking out. And then the second time I did it was that summer, and it was some of us, some like captains on the football team, shit like that. And a buddy of mine who I went to middle school with, we were never best friends or no shit like that, but we was buddies. And he asked me like, would you care if I dated her? And I was like, in my mind, I didn't think he could get her. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so, but still, I was honest. I was like, yeah, kind of like, We play on the football team together. You know what I mean? Like, it would kind of bother me. So he didn't go straight to getting with her, but he wasn't asking hypothetically. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And so he ended up like so all of these things, it's so funny looking back at them now because all of these things just are like serendipity.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you say that because if you go back 15 years ago when you was going through it, maybe Pops or somebody would have told you, you're going to look back at this and it's going to be
they did. I mean, bro, it's
we don't want to hear that shit.
My homies almost disowned me, bro. Yeah. Like, I was on I had no care of how I've never cared how I was perceived. So when I was going through the darkest period of my life, I was acting in ways that were aligned with that darkness. And I did not care how I was perceived. I didn't give a fuck what you thought. And my homies was like, tee off his rocker. We might have to like fall back. But again, the moment that allowed me to get over that was when she called me the day. So we went on a field trip and watched Hamlet. We went down to Circle Center Mall in downtown Indianapolis, and we got to see Hamlet. And I loved the play. I just love Shakespeare. From the Midsummer Night's Dream that made me fall in love with it and go back to acting and try it to end up in it, to this play that we're seeing. After the play, she called me because she had already graduated and I was still in high school, and told me that she was with Buddy. And I was like, something about it didn't make me, I was able to get over her in that moment. Like, it made me ecstatic because something about it clicked. It was like, oh, she doesn't care about you the way that you care about her.
That part.
And again, it didn't make me bitter or anything. It was like, that was the one thing that whatever inside of me was holding on needed to let go. And I got it. And from there, I just felt ecstatic. And I was like, that was the whole jumping point that led to the enlightenment moment. Because from that whole year of depression in 2006, then I was just like elated to not be depressed anymore. And it was like, well, I'm curious. Church has always been something that my mom took me to, but like nobody in my family is that intellectual about. But I am. I question everything. So I had all these questions, and this was my senior year of high school, like autumn, and for about a year, I dove in continually deeper into these questions, diving deeper into religion, diving deeper into the soul searching. And about a year later, my freshman year of college, that was when that enlightenment moment happened. It was a series of events that all led up to that, from me wanting to take a yoga class and it being full, to then we got this techniques and stress reduction class that's open. Okay, that sounds cool. I get in there, this guy's talking and doing all this, he's talking all this stuff that's like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Everybody else thinks that you're weird, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. And then I asked him a couple questions, the floodgates open, that enlightenment moment hits, we're off to the races. But every single thing made sense, because from the getting with the girl to having the tumultuous relationship and passionate and all that other stuff, to getting my heart broken, to learning how to deal with a broken heart, to learning how to deal with the intense emotions that I felt, not getting rid of them, not numbing them or having some repressive response, but like I learned if it's as they come up, I can transmute them and I can be present for them and I can deal with them. They don't have to control me. And again, like from them getting together, they ended up married and having a couple kids and then divorced and all sorts of other shit. That was a whole life that I could have lived that wasn't for me. God said, this is, I'm gonna take you through this, you go to that to get to this, and now we're gonna be here and we're gonna go from here to wherever we going.
Now, at that moment in time when you was going through that, did you fully trust your journey that you was going on, or coming out of that darkness?
In the darkness?
Yes.
In the darkness, I had no...
You didn't see no light at the end of the tunnel.
There was blurry-eyed, teary confusion. I got the worst grades of my life. I got physically sick. I had the most problematic relationship with my parents that I've ever had. Like, I don't remember a single thing about my little brother from that period, that entire year. Like... And that's my first memory. Like, I'm closest to my baby brother. But, like, I don't remember anything but darkness that year, and until I came out of it. Yeah, bro. It was just...
Now, did you ever see yourself coming out of it, though?
No. When I was in it, no. And that's what got to the point of suicide, because you don't see an end to it and you don't see a way out. So that's that becomes the one thing that you're like, okay, maybe this is it. Like, nothing else is working. Everybody's telling you that you got to get over it, but you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I started writing. Like, I found poetry was a way that I dealt with my pain. Like, when my granny died, I wrote my first poem. And then when I broke up with this girl, I was writing left and fucking right.
Yeah.
And, like, you pour the shit out and then it comes back. And you pour the shit out and it comes back. And it's like, bruh, how much can I fucking pour out? Like, I thought I got rid of all of it. I've been doing this for a year, damn near.
Yeah.
But, like, if you keep doing it, it wasn't even me trusting the process, so I ain't even gonna say you trust the process. You just keep going, and then I really, in a lot of ways, this is like, it's like fate. Because if it was fated, then that pregnancy scare could have turned into a real pregnancy. Yeah. If it was fated, anything she could have gotten back with me and not with, but there's any
could have got married. Yeah,
could have got married. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here, exactly.
So that's why I say, when you let go and you just flow with things, it makes it that much. Especially if you have enough life experience to look back on and see, like, every time I was trying to hold on to something and it got taken away, it was for the best.
For the best. Come on, man. Say that shit again.
Message. So why, like, I'm not holding on to nothing no more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna just learn my lesson.
And see, that thing, with a lot of people who don't go through certain circumstances that we may have went through, that'd be one of the hardest things to do is let go.
I feel for him because I was there. I know it's not fucking easy if you haven't went through that.
Yeah.
You can't. That's why I say you can't build character. But that's why superficiality has to take a fucking back seat. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't care about what the way that you look like, but that shit has to be secondary, my nigga. If your soul's not right, then none of that matters.
None of it, yep.
And that is the part that you have to, like, the soul stuff is the stuff that you have to go through the experience of. You can't buy presence, you can't buy character. But if you haven't been through stuff, then you can't build it.
Real talk.
Because you can't buy it, then that's the way you build it.
Real
is
talk.
Through experience. So get out there and live your fullest life, man. If you don't be scared. People who are scared of getting hurt, but you're gonna get hurt anyway. Life is like gonna happen. Yeah. It's gonna happen. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, pain is unavoidable unless you have congenital insensitivity, which is one of the things that led me to have that enlightenment moment, which is where you don't feel a sense of touch physically. Like, the most some of these people feel is like a physical sense of pressure, but you can't talk to them about a cut. And like, the medical danger is pain is how your body lets you know something's wrong.
Exactly.
So you get cut and, I need stitches, but you don't know it. You fuck around and bleed out.
Yeah, like somebody getting shot and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had no clue.
Yeah, all the programming of the mind. And like you said, man, it's just one of them things of, now to the point that you're at, you deal with pain a whole lot different than what you have done in the past. And I think that's accredited to you mastering yourself. You get what I'm saying? To you mastering yourself. And that's one of the keys of meditation and everything. So take us to that moment of suicide. Like, what just that moment when you was about to do it?
So the two moments that really, like, stand out, like, I put the gun to my head, little handgun, and it was a BB. I don't know. I think it was a BB gun. But I just did it to see how, like, you know, how it felt to have something that could actually be something that was actually loaded and could really do some damage to my temple. And looking in the mirror, and then, like, somebody coming in, like, not into the bathroom, but like somebody coming in the house and me being like, all right, you're not about to do this right now, so, you know, you put that away. And then reading something online that was, I don't know if it was one of them, like, suicide hotlines or some shit like that, but it was like an online thing, and it was talking about, it was basically like just talking people who were feeling those feelings and having those thoughts through them. And it was saying, as it talked you through it, that, like, part of the reason that you want to do this, or the main reason that you want to do this, is because you think that it's going to stop the pain and suffering that you feel. But there's no guarantee that that's the case.
Yeah, it's not.
And I'm a logical person, so regardless of how much pain I was in, that pierced my intellect. Was
exactly.
Like, I can't deny that. Like, if you're absolutely right. If we're having a conversation about this, I'm doing this to end the pain that I feel because I think this is the only way. But if it don't work and I end up in some more fucked situation, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to deal with that. Like, that just made me realize, like, nah, bro, whatever we got to deal with, we're gonna deal with here and face it head on, because if you run from some shit and then you end up in some worse shit, I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah.
So what would be your advice, man, to anybody that's going through them thoughts currently, that is watching and or listening? Like, what would be your advice to them?
This ain't gonna sound like I'm giving pause before I say this because I don't mean this lightly. You really feel like it? Do it.
Mm-hmm.
You really feel like it? Do it. Even after listening to what I just said about the fact that there's no guarantee that it alleviates whatever you're going through. And if you don't, keep living. Just keep living. Matthew McConaughey, who's another Scorpio king,
yes,
brother,
sir.
We got the same birthday.
Shout out to McConaughey, man.
He's got a thing where it's just keep living. That's like his little, like, I think he might have a foundation behind it. I know that was like his thing. Just keep living.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I had to press myself, because I don't do that soft shit. Like, I was born on a Marine base. Like, if I would have told my daddy I was suicidal over that girl, he wouldn't have, like, oh, well, son, we need to get you into therapy.
Yeah,
my daddy would have checked me.
Yeah.
Like, he probably would have punched me in my fucking chest or some shit like that. Like,
yeah.
And my daddy wasn't abusive and didn't put his hands on us like that. But, like, that type of shit, like, if you talk about something like that,
mm-hmm.
again, you're pushing the envelope. You're not playing. I remember saying to the girl that, like, I was thinking about, she was like, Tyler, stop playing. I'm gonna call your mom right now. Yeah. And I didn't want her to call my mom because I didn't want anybody thwarting my plans, for one.
Exactly.
But I don't want to have a conversation about this either.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about when it comes to anybody who's at that point of, like, pain, bruh. There are people who really do it. Like, we got a rider who lost somebody recently to that shit, and, like, people really do be lost, bro. Like, if you are so lost that you're gonna do it, then my words trying to tell you probably ain't gonna help. I'm here to tell you that there is no guarantee that that's the way out, though. And in my mind, I don't think that it is, because I said humans are 3 layers, with the 4th layer of awareness, the physical, mm-hmm. mental, and emotional. But the awareness precedes all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we may need a human body to experience human experiences, but nobody can speak about what the experience is like when you shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to initiate that yourself, like, that goes back to Hamlet, where Hamlet, the whole to be or not to be speech is him considering suicide. Like, for anybody who doesn't know, Hamlet's story is that his father died. He was away. Imagine him being away at college or some shit. His father dies, so he comes back for the funeral. Within a month, his mother has already gotten with his uncle. Then he starts having, imagine this is like your real life. Don't put this off into some fairy tale world. Imagine that your daddy really dies and then your mama starts dating and fucking your uncle. Then you start having dreams of your daddy's ghost coming to you and telling you, leave your mama out of this. She ain't got nothing to do with it, but your uncle, that whole ass nigga did it. And you got to take him out. Now you don't know if you're hallucinating. You're already mad at your uncle because he shouldn't have done what he done as far as getting with your mama. And you don't know if you should take your own life. So now you're to that point. You have to do all the back work to get to the point before you can really load up a trigger and say, to be or not to be.
Yeah.
Like, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows, or to end them. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. He's saying, like, should I end the shit? But then he has this whole part of questioning, like, because what dreams may come. Why don't we he said, what dreams may come when we shuffle off this mortal coil? You don't know. So that's why people go on about their days that they can't stand, or when people can't find a reason to live, but they still don't kill themselves. Your scary ass don't know what's on the other side. Yeah, and you should be, my nigga.
Yeah.
You don't know. So let yourself go when you go, because you're gonna get there anyway, right? Like, when you trying to talk about killing yourself, you're trying to rush the process that's inevitable, because you're gonna die. Like, we don't have to debate that. You're gonna die. If you just want to do it sooner, rushing to get to wherever the fuck that is, maybe wherever the fuck or whatever the fuck happens is gonna be different to you based on that.
Exactly.
Maybe your experience in consciousness continues to be that turmoil because you didn't work through it.
Yeah. And that's heavy. That's deep.
You just don't know, my nigga. So keep going. Just keep living.
Yeah. That's deep. Deep Talks with T. Let's talk about it.
Deep Talks with T. This is one of them.
I know.
Deep Talks with T came about my freshman year of college. I wasn't into acting yet. I had just gotten into, like I said, I was on my spiritual journey. I just had that moment of enlightenment. And I don't even know if I had that moment yet, but by the time my buddies were telling me I should do this, I think I had, because it was all the things that I was studying and talking about and absorbing at that time were around the same content. But because my friends hadn't heard anybody talk about this type of stuff, and by my friends, they were just the new people I had met that year, they were like, dude, you should have a talk show, you should have a talk show, you should have a talk show. Like one of our riders keeps saying, you know, you should have a talk show. And I was resistant because I was like, that's not what I saw myself doing. I had nothing, you know, I was an athlete. And so I was like, I was trying to find my way outside of that world. And then one of them came up with that name, that's what it hit. He was like, you should call it Deep Talk with T. And I was like, ooh, that's clever. And something that made me run with it. And so I did like 3 episodes. They caught some little steam, you know what I mean? I realized, like, I went back to pick my little brother up. I went back to my hometown and picked my little brother up from school. And then people at my old high school who I didn't think were paying attention to were like, oh, we watching your stuff. And I was like, oh, motherfuckers is really watching this shit. But I wasn't doing it for my ego. And that made me a little weary that people were watching it because I didn't want to get involved. Like, I didn't want my ego to get involved in it. And so at a certain point, I was like, I said what I had to say, what I had come up, what my understanding was at the time, but that was like the first episode, and I pretty much got out what my understanding was at that point. It wasn't very deep. It was just like, oh, I'm in this blissful state of awareness because of this little bit I know, but I can't really talk too much about it. And I found myself in moments, like this is back before like YouTube was even like really popular. I was doing these on Facebook Live and shit like that, and then putting the videos up on. I can't even find the episodes because Facebook doesn't even have the videos anymore. So it got to the point where I was like looking off into space and trying to find my thoughts and rambling about things that I just didn't have a perspective on. And so I fell back because I was like, my ego could get involved in this if I just keep doing it for the sake of my buddies telling me I should do it, and I don't feel it right now.
You don't feel it,
So I stopped. And then I got back out here, and people had always told me I should write a book, but I never knew what I would write about. I never knew what I'd give myself to. And then I happened to be chilling with this young lady. Shout out Janessa. And I was talking about these things that, like I talk about, the given circumstances, the objectives, the way that I make sense of the human experience through the tools of script analysis and basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the human hierarchy of needs, the needs we all share, the needs we all have. And she, as I was talking about those things, she was like, you should write a book. And I was like, that's it. People have told me I should write a book my whole life. That's what the book should be about, because this is shit that I live and breathe and helps me make sense of every single interaction I have and every single interaction I hear about other people having. So I can write about this because I really live and breathe this shit. And then as I was thinking about that, and then I was driving Uber at the time, and I was using people who I would drive with as like spinning boards, you know what I mean? Anybody who wanted to talk to me, that was where I'd redirect the conversation back to. And they would always be like, then they'd say something like, you should write a book, or you should do something. And I was like, okay, this is fucking confirmation. Because every time somebody hears about this knowledge, they're like, ooh, you should do something with this. And I was like, all right, bro, you were exploring back in college when they were telling you should do this, but now you find yourself explaining the same shit over and over and over and over, and people telling you should write a book, you should be doing something with this. What are you doing? Deep Talk with T. That's an outlet. I don't have to. I can make it whatever I want to make it, and I can just spit this shit that people want to hear. And then when I get in conversations with people and they be like, "You should do something with it," I can point them to it.
Exactly.
I can say, I don't even have to go. I can remain my introvert self, damn near, if I want to, and
Exactly.
just point you to the video that I made already. You want to hear about me talk about ambition? Go to The Roof Is on Fire. You want to hear me talk about like how you always are gonna acclimate to every stage? Go to the acclimation episode. Like all the shit that I talk about, I could just get out in these episodes. And it's rolling. I'm writing the book right now. I've been writing it, but it kept getting stalled, from technological things and me trying to figure out how deep I want to go. Because like you said, Robert Greene's my favorite author, right? And he writes 600 plus page history books and shit like that I love consuming, but I realized that I shouldn't say not a lot of people, because he ends up a New York Times bestseller, but I don't meet a lot of people, even though people know him, I don't meet a lot of people who have actually read all 600 pages of a lot of things. They reference 48 Laws of Power, they do things, but they're not.
I don't know if they really read, exactly.
48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The 33 Strategies of War, The 50th Law of Power.
It's like a college book.
The 33 Strategies of War, exactly, Mastery, The Laws of Human Nature, The Daily Laws. Like, I love Robert Greene's material, and I've consumed everything that he's written, that he's released, and interviews and shit like that, to the point that like this latest book has a whole lot of stuff that it's a compilation of stuff that he's done in interviews. I'm 2 pages ahead of what we're at, because I know what he's saying already, because I've consumed so much. So I say all that to say that it became a problem for me, because I was like, I'm not trying to write another Robert Greene book. I adore his work so much, but I have to separate what I adore about his work, and this is my piece. And this is what's my objective, and how am I gonna accomplish it with this? Because I have something to say. And I've continually been finding that flow. I see the structure coming together.
Yes.
And it's gonna be out this year. I'm gonna say that.
The book?
I'm gonna say it right here, right now. It's gonna be out this year. It's gonna be out this year. I feel it.
I'm gonna hold you to that. So you gonna come here, right?
That's why I just said it. I told you, bro. I don't get in the way. When God says something through me, I just let it be. I be the vessel for it. It's gonna be out this year.
But we gonna have it first, right?
It's the R, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
What it is, man.
We got to. It's only right. That way you can come back on here, talk about the book and the process, because I know we have been talking about it for some years now, and I know it's been a on and off process. But just to hear that it's gonna be done this fucking year, oh yeah,
it's gonna be done this year.
So what can people expect from you in the future, man? Like just with, we know the book, Deep Talks with T. What about the acting?
The Council 2.
Yes, sir.
Working on that.
Yes,
working on that this year. And I'm focused on growth, man. Like I said, I'm free falling. I've let go of any expectations, any ideas that I know what's coming. So, I mean, I know I'm going undefeated all year. Every single day I'm stacking wins. Because the wins are under my control. I can't control what opportunities come to me, but I can control what I do and what positions I put myself in.
Especially in the game. We can control how we play on the field.
That part.
That's it.
So if I wake up every day and I show up for the work and I do what I know I'm supposed to do, because your conscience tells you what you need to do. If you, like I said, if you shut the fuck up and then listen and you abide, there's intelligence to the universe. Like your body operates without you telling it what to do, right? That's intelligence. So trust that intelligence of the universe. It helps you breathe and blink and all sorts of other shit that you do automatically. So just trusting that, yeah, man. And if you watching this and you got some casting for me, bring that road this way. You know what I'm saying?
They better if they smart. Now tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, my brother, my rider.
Instagram, Tyler Antoine Gordon, TylerAntoinegordon. There. And you can tap in from there. Go to link in bio and tap in. You can get Deep Talks with T there. You go to YouTube, Deep Talk with T. But that's probably the main place. Check out the IMDb.
And he is single, ladies. Scorpio, you already know our reputation, and we hold true to it. It's the Patio PolitiCz by Ryder Tyler, man. He will be back once that book drop, man. Shout out to LP, the host, DJ Infant J, Jasmine Patterson. Yeah, I'm sorry, JP. I'm sorry, Jasmine Denise, my bad. Too much coffee and tea. Shout out to T Millie Mill in the back, about to blow the camera up. This is the Patio PolitiCz. I'm your friendly neighborhood man, J5TH. We live, we having fun. If you want to talk shit, get behind the mic. We out of here like this.
We hope you stay